Hello everyone, today I want to guide you through some of the steps I use on how I can best break up a tea cake or tea brick. Sometimes when we get our first tea brick or tea cake, it can be a little bit intimidating on how we can break it up and make tea. So I'll share with you some tips that work very well for myself, as well as after I break up the cake, how we can put it into a storage jar. So in order to get started, you of course will need a Puerh tea cake. I like to use a breaking tray. This is a little bit on the smaller size. They have varying sizes. So just find the size that matches your tea cake. You also will need a tea pick. You don't need this exact one. A tea pick is very similar to something like a ice pick or a letter opener. You can even use a dull knife. Essentially, it is a pick with a slanted edge. This will just help you pry into the cake and loosen it up. So we'll go ahead and use this one today. So first I'll go ahead and unwrap the cake. And you always want to be very gentle when you pull out your tea cake. I will be breaking up a raw pour, though this technique can be used for a ripe or raw pour. So go ahead and place the tea cake on the tray. Then next you want to take your pick and then you want to look for an opening in the side of the cake. What you want to do when breaking the tea brick is you don't want to damage the leaves too much. You want to keep the leaves intact as much as possible. So I'm just going to look for a little opening here. There we go. And what I want to do is when I find that opening, I want to press this in. A few techniques. You don't want to hold your cake like this and press in because you might stab yourself. So you want to kind of hold it off to the side and then pull it into the side here. And then gently press in. And once you're in a little bit, you can go a little further, and then you can actually just leverage up, right? So I don't want to damage it, so I'm not going to go any further. I'm going to find another spot. I'm going to go in, and then I'm just going to leverage it up, right? And I'm just going to kind of keep doing that throughout the cake. And once again, you want to be a little gentle. If you find a spot that's a little too rough, you can always just stop and find another spot. What you want to do is you want to keep those leaves intact as much as possible. So once I kind of break it off, I'm going to do one or two more here. There we go. And now I can use my hand and I can just kind of pull off those beaker pieces. Now if you're just taking a little bit of tea for your gaiwan or teapot and you want to leave the cake intact, you can go ahead and put the cake away at this point. Or what I like to do, if there's a particular tea I like to drink often, what I'll do is I'll break up the tea cake in its entirety and then place it in a tea jar. So just for kind of just showing you how to do this, I'll just do this a little bit more and then I'll show you how I place it in that tea jar. So you see there's no real scuffing. You want to make sure it's really even and loose. And for the purpose of this video, I'll stop here so you can see the technique. And I'll put this cake away. And what I like to do with some of these bigger pieces is I like to go ahead and break them up just a little bit more. I'd be really gentle. I like to use the pick rather than using my hands, because sometimes if you use your hands and you snap this in half, sometimes you can damage the leaves. So I go ahead and like to use the pick again. And just kind of slowly break it up. If it seems a little rough, just find another spot. There we go. And just kind of loosen it apart. Make sure it's really natural. It should fall apart really naturally. So now we have some Puerh that is broken up from the tea cake. And I'll say that's maybe a little too much for a cup of tea. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is put this in my tea storage jar. And the one thing that's really nice about these breaking trays, so they're called breaking trays or Puerh tea trays, is they have this little hole. And what you can do is you can kind of just slide the tea off to the side, and then you can gently pour it into the jar. It just makes it a little bit easier. And you can kind of gently tap it just to make sure all the little pieces fall in. So I hope this video was helpful in helping you break apart a Puerh tea cake. I will also have other videos on how you can break apart a tea brick, for example, because you use a little bit different technique than with a cake. Sometimes bricks can be a little bit more condensed and harder to break apart. And so once you've placed everything in the jar, and you can put that on your tea shelf to enjoy later. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to find more educational videos like this, please like and subscribe. Let me know about future topics for videos in the comments below. Also, if you want to learn how to break up a tea brick rather than a tea cake, you'll be able to see a link to that video at the end of this video. Thanks so much.